wittingly or unwittingly, that's thoughtlessly or deliberately, we do have an effect. Can we intelligently have that effect with forethought and consideration? That is the question. Today, our show is about us. Aha, you say. What do you mean, woman? There is no us. I've never even met you. Maybe not. But today, we'll get to know each other better. And we may even get to know ourselves better. Because we are more alike than we are different. We have the same basic needs. All of us. Every human being needs more than food, clothing, and shelter. We have psychological and emotional needs, which influence our minds, our bodies, and our desire to live, or our lack of it. Every person needs a sense of belonging, to be valued, to be cared about, to be treated with respect, to feel safe, to have a right to pursue their own dreams and ideals. We all share these needs. But we live as if they weren't needs at all. We act and behave like they are only luxuries and available for only a few. Our lives show the consequences of our neglect of these needs by the stress left behind. Stress is said to be the #1 cause of illness. We also suffer financial losses, family breakups, even death as a result of ignoring or denying these basic needs generation after generation. Most of us struggle to make sense of our dysfunctional history, culture, or family. Sooner or later, each one of us begins to search for ourselves. Yes, ourselves. We have been obedient to what we were told to do, what we were taught to be, and how we were supposed to feel. For so long, we no longer know where the outside influence ends and our authentic, real self begins. Everyone we associate with tells us what to do with our lives, even if they don't know what to do with their own. They tell us how we think, as if they knew. Of course they don't know. They wouldn't want to hear it if we told them. They are seldom interested in how we think. They are usually interested only in how much we agree with what they think. They will even tell us how we feel, as if they knew. If they did know, they wouldn't accept it or like it. That's why we never told them how we feel. You already know if you don't feel the way that they want you to feel, they can't accept it. Oh yes, we do have a lot in common. I grew up where thinking wasn't allowed. It was, don't you dare question me. Shut up. Do what I tell you. I'll do the thinking around here. Blind and thoughtless obedience was considered a virtue, especially for women and children. But men, too, seldom openly questioned those in power. Thinking was considered a violation against authority. They acted as if they were trying to fix a mistake that God made by giving us brains in the first place. We were programmed to think as those before us thought, and to do as those before us have done, without question. But doing the same things, we got the same results, many of which were not good. But we were compelled to stay with our traditional behavior or suffer the consequences of family and cultural disruption for our disobedience. Examining our lives, our habits, and our potential for a better outcome socially seemed to be considered little less than youthful rebellion. Advancement appeared to be more acceptable in technology than in our cultural behavior. Today, I invite you to do some thinking with me. It's not my intention to tell you what to think, but it is my intention to cause you to think. Those of us who grew up in dysfunctional families were commonly taught to control or be controlled. Those who were in control spent their anxious lives trying to maintain their position, like the childhood game of King of the Hill, where a boy stands on a mound and tries to defend it until another boy overthrows him and takes his place on the mound. Then the second boy tries to defend it until someone overthrows him and takes his place. And the game continues to repeat itself over and over. Control games are the same. The controller becomes consumed by his need to stay in power. The more anxious and fearful he becomes, the more ruthless his tactics are. He seeks to control everyone and everything except himself. Most of us have become so accustomed to subtle controls that we no longer recognize them. Typical ways of controlling are: number one, ignoring, changing the subject, leaving the room, or turning you or your issue into a joke. All of these tactics derail, stop, or devalue you and your opinion. Many people are unaware of the effects of this behavior because it is so common. Many excuse it as just teasing, but the psychological effects remain the same. Number two, the amateur pretending to be an analyst, analyzing your life and pretending they know more about you and what you need and what you want than you do. Number three, praise and flattery. This one is so common because it works so well. The controller tells you how intelligent you are when you parrot back to him the things that he has said. He tells you how wise you are when you claim to feel the same way he feels about something or anything. He brags about how brilliant you are when you have learned to gain his acceptance by mirroring what he is and forfeiting your own thinking to his. Number four, preaching and moralizing. Parents often resort to this and attempt to get their children to do what they believe what is best for them. They don't know what else to do. Number five, judging, criticizing, and blaming. These are ways to make you wrong and unacceptable, hoping that you'll turn around and do what they want you to do. Number six, ordering, directing, and commanding. These are ways to show authority and make you realize they are the authority. Number seven, warning and threatening. These are ways to intimidate you, to prepare you to think about what else might happen. If none of these work, then sometimes before any of these have even been tried, if a controller can't change your mind or your direction, they may resort to physical force and violence, or even terror tactics. Typically, those who don't yield to controllers are punished or banished. Structurally, the control game is like a coin. One side is the controller, the other side is the controlled. Neither one has any value without the other. But it also has the structure like a pyramid game.